Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Respect the Line, a podcast about bocce, game strategy, whether it be for business, gambling, sports, whatever you want it to be about. And I'm with my co-host, Matt Taylor. My name is Danny Catullo. We got a new logo up. Shout out to Big E. And Taylor and I have already been thinking about what sort of music we need to lead us out. You know, we need a little intro before we start, Matt, I believe.
Yeah, I agree. Also, Big E, thank you. He invited us. I mean, we're already playing together, but he invited us out there to do some live streaming and in-house interviews. So we're actually really excited about that. Looking forward to that.
It's literally like one of my favorite, if not favorite, tournaments of the year. It's going to be your first one. It's a fucking blast. It's nonstop bocce. It's great talent now, especially this year, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, so you wanted to do an episode tonight. You just basically made me stop watching the Ohio State game and said you wanted to talk. You had things to talk about, and you wanted to get some things off your chest. So I got my computer. The mic wasn't even powered up yet. You said, don't worry about that. Let's get going. So what do you want to talk about? What do you want to get off your chest?
I'm not really having anything to get off my chest, but I don't understand how you're doing this and not watching at the same time. I'm watching 4 games right now because I'm a degenerate and doing this podcast. Like I have it literally on my TV right now. If I could turn my phone.
I'm a fan of the best team in college football, Ohio State. So they're up 10-0. We don't have to sweat out games.
Yeah, okay.
Against who was it? North Dakota State, or wherever you guys.
I literally hate Ohio State. I do. I hate Ohio State. Just like people hate Dallas. I mean, I hate them, but they're good. I mean, what can I say? I can't say they're not good. I just hate them. I hate them.
It's because on Sundays my team sucks. So every Saturday I get to watch this amazing win, and then I get to watch, us just shit the bed on Sundays.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Whatever. Fuck Ohio State.
All right, so you said there were some Facebook topics that you wanted to bring up.
Yeah. So we obviously wanted to do this podcast. We're obviously doing them every week, but we wanted to. I told you guys, when I sent that message out, we really appreciate you guys listening into our first episode. We got a lot of really good feedback around it. We're really excited about that. We're going to keep this momentum going. I mean, we're really serious about doing this. And I wanted to reach out to see what kind of topics you guys had. And we had a few of them. One of the topics was, the memorial tournaments. I had somebody, I'm not going to reveal the name right now, but I had, somebody hit me up and said, are we going to have a tournament every time somebody passes away? Obviously, no disrespect to anybody that's passed away and any of their family members. And, you want to have a benefit in a tournament for that. That's great. But I think the idea of the question was, well, everybody's going to have people pass away in their lives. Like, we can have a tournament for everyone. There's already tons of them. So the question I'm going to ask
I think the problem is, though, right, is not so much the memorial tournaments. I believe it's, are there too many tournaments? And that's the problem now, because now the weekends are filled and you need a reason to throw a tournament, because you can't just throw something on the calendar, because everyone's going to get pissed off. You're going to piss off Newcastle. You're going to piss off Youngstown. You're going to piss off Chippy if you put a tournament on one of his weekends. And so now you need a reason. So I think maybe that's why we have some more memorial tournaments, is because you need a good reason to be able to have one. But just look at October's schedule alone. I think, Dante Delisio made a comment on the Bocce Bros Facebook page and was like, holy shit, there's 11 tournaments in October in Youngstown alone, just in our area.
Well, yeah, that was going to lead into my next point is, when you add a tournament, it's just like a memorial tournament for somebody, you're adding more tournaments. I mean, how many tournaments were there? Would you happen to know how many tournaments there were 5 years ago compared to now? I wonder if we can get some data on that. I mean, honestly, I feel like there's not only just one tournament a weekend, there's 2. Next weekend, crickets, or this upcoming weekend's crickets, and Jerry's having a tournament on Saturday. Some of these dudes are going to play two tournaments in one weekend.
You could play in Columbus if you wanted to for a Bocce to Stop Trafficking tournament. And then next week,
so there's 3.
Next week you could play at Farrell. You could play at the Columbus Italian Festival. You could play at Highwood. You could also play the Golden String. That's 4.
Right. There's 4
like within 6 hours.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's insane. So like, why do we have so many?
Ron Dog played last night in my tournament at Butch's.
And today and then drove out to New York. It's unbelievable.
He's in the winner's bracket. He might have won it.
It's unbelievable. I guarantee you, Ron Dog, which that's short for Ron Rear, is his real name. He's not the dog anymore, by the way. He's not the Dizzle. He's just Ron. He plays in more tournaments than anybody every year. Every year.
Yep.
It's crazy. He'll travel to 2 states away, come back the next day and play a tournament. He does it a lot. I mean, constantly.
So getting back to the question, though, Taylor, like, is there too many tournaments? Is it too much right now?
I mean, yeah, it has to be. I mean,
why is it too much?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I love bocce. I love the competitiveness of it. That's one of the reasons why I play. Like one of the main reasons why I play. Like I care more about winning than I do about the money or anything else like that. And I was asked several times by several people to play in both of these tournaments this weekend, and I just had no desire because I played so much. I mean, we were in Detroit.
What does it matter if other people wanted to play this weekend? Like I took the last couple weekends off. I needed a mental break.
Yeah.
Same thing I think that you're doing now in these 2 weeks. It's a grind, especially to go through June, July, August. It's a freaking grind. Those are big tournaments, big travel tournaments, 3-day tournaments, like where you're waiting. It's just a lot. So like I needed a little break, but who cares if there's 32 teams? They still want to play Butches. They're still,
if people want to play it, absolutely. That's great. And they can do that. For me, I would also question, I looked on the live stream for a short period of time to see some of the players that were in that tournament. I think some of them don't travel to the height that some of us do. So for someone like me, it's obviously individualized. I needed a break. I didn't want to play too much.
I'm gonna advocate that it's a good thing. I don't know where you stand on this. Okay, I'm gonna advocate it's a good thing because I think a tournament like Butch's this weekend, what it does is it allows new teams to play together. I would have never ever played with Tito and Spiff. Diane, I'm playing with Diane. She wanted to have a team in there, wants to support Butch. Raising some money to be able to help fight his illness. It's again for a great cause, not a memorial tournament, but for a great cause. But it gave me an opportunity to play with 2 new players and give me a different aspect of the game. I'm learning from them. I think that hopefully they can learn from me last night, so it was really fun to play with those 3, what I normally don't do. It's not my normal tournament team.
Right.
2, the first game I played was against 4 people that never travel. And we beat them. We beat them bad. They were from MVR. It was 2 bartenders from MVR, Antonio. His dad and his mom have played before. But it was really fun. Like, it was great for them. They got to get a little taste of tournament experience. It wasn't as expensive. It was good for the money for them. It was like, hey, we're spending money to help Butch too. They got to, bid on baskets and stuff, and they got to have a great time and also got to see what all the buzz is about with what we're doing, almost every weekend is playing in these things. And man, that Antonio kid, he hit the ball 4 out of 6 times and hit some really great shots. And I was like, man, like he just showed some people he could hit the ball.
Right. Well, are you there, Danny?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. You look like you're cutting out there. When I was at JEC this year, I asked, there was 2 people I was happened to be near at the time. They were chatting me up, whatever. And someone had asked me, are you playing, in this tournament, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to be playing here. Are you? And he's like, no. He's like, it's too much travel. We never win. Getting to, playing all these tournaments has become a little too much for us and we never win. So we just feel like we're always spending our money. So while I agree with you, and there probably are some positives to it, when you have so many, don't you think eventually it's going to get too saturated or people are just going to be over it? Like, do you think there gets to a point where like tournaments start to become less fun and more work if you're doing it every weekend?
Definitely. But, but this sport has gotten bigger and the amount of good players has, quadrupled, if not more, than
Mm-hmm.
where it was 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, everyone has told me that. Jimmy DeFranco brought up a good point on that same post was, a win doesn't mean as much in his eyes anymore. So for him, when there was a tournament once every 3-4 weeks, or, those very few times that there was a bunch of them in a row, there was a big ones, those were all big, big wins. So for Jimmy, it's like, it's not as, he doesn't want to see everybody's Facebook picture that they won or got, every single week because he won this little
I can
mom and
see him
pop
saying that.
tournament.
I can see
Yeah.
him saying that.
Yeah, and so for Jimmy DeFranco saying he doesn't feel like it's worth it as much. I would say now that these bigger tournaments, and we just talked about this literally last episode, talking about ABV and how hard it is to fucking win. We talked about your team and how hard it is to win. So I would argue that these little tournaments, these mini tournaments, 24 teams, pop-ups that are happening now all the time that didn't happen before are the reason why it's so hard to win in the big ones. Because you're just getting more and more tournament experience for those of us that are good players to be able to utilize that the next time that we play in these really big ones, these more important, either whether it be majors or JACs or more important ones than maybe Jimmy DeFranco used to just play in those ones. So, I don't know. The game's so much bigger than before. Is it a bad thing?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, you also see some of these terms like VFW, they had to cancel an entire Thursday bracket because people backed out. People didn't want to play, they couldn't fill it. So, like, what's the cause of that? If people really wanted to play and they want to play in tournaments like that, a little more localized, why aren't they? Is it because there's too many?
Here again, being that, playing on devil's advocate on the other side is make your tournament better. Offer more for the players. Listen, 100% payout back when, like little Diane's dad, little Tony played, right, was so important because there was dollar beers and they were just like these little bars that everybody went and smoked cigarettes and played bocce at. I mean, it was a completely different game than where it's at today. Yeah. Now, you know what these players want? And I don't think really tournaments do it for them. Karmstrom just did it. We didn't know if it was going to happen. Finally did with having the Bocce Bros there. And now we have some tournaments now that are bringing BBN there. But, like, bring live streaming. That should be a benefit. You'll get more teams. If you're going to tell these teams that are in the middle that, yeah, they may be wasting their money, that there's a chance for them to be on video and there's going to be, like, this tournament hype preview show, you're going to get a Luciano, report, like, before Wycliffe. Like, man, that makes you want to sign up. That makes you want to be at that tournament. So I think you could offer a little bit more of these tournaments. Even the mid-sized ones can get people there streaming to make it worth it.
I'm gonna have to see somebody's. I'm curious to see the comments we get on this video, this podcast, in relation to that comment. If being on video, knowing you're probably not going to win, is going to get you to that tournament. Like, I'm really curious to know. Like, I would think that it wouldn't, but you might be right. I mean, offering something that makes your tournament good.
Game. I'm not talking about these teams that, I'm not talking about average, below average teams going in there. But, like, man, like, we love watching our games, rewatching our games. Like, I'm over Corey's house smoking a cigar with him. We're drinking, some high noons or whatever. And we love rewatching our game against you.
I do too. I do too.
2 years ago on court 6. And we like Pete's hands going up in the air and Stewie getting pissed off at the ball and get to rewatch that and hear that Carmen Marinucci talking about how you guys were the betting favorite in Rocco Guerreri's pool. And I loved watching that game. So, man, like, it was great that Bocce Bros were there. I mean, it would make me want to go there again to be able to rewatch one of my games.
Right. No, I hear you. I don't disagree with you on that. I mean, I'm curious to see where our people stand. I mean, I don't think there really is an answer to this, but I do think that there's just so many tournaments that everything's getting watered down. So,
it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop.
Probably not. Probably not. But
if you get the people, until you don't get people, it's not going to stop.
Right. Yeah, I'm curious to see what people say in the comments about this. So, we can move on from that. Maybe when we have our guests on later in the week, we can ask them about their opinion on it since they play too. See what they say. But yeah, That's
So
cool.
this leads into another thing for me. So I believe that people that play bocce in our area specifically, so especially Cleveland through Western PA, and I'll even add in like especially like the Rome, New York guys, the travel, Lockport, even Long Island-ish area. The fact that we play and travel to all these different tournaments, so they're not at the same club. So we're not playing Highwood every week. We're not playing, long synthetic courts at Palazzo or in California. We are literally traveling to all types of different courts. So we're playing on 63-foot dirt courts. Then we're playing on 63-foot synthetic courts. Then we're playing on 70-foot synthetic court. Like we travel all over to all these courts. I think what it does for us is that we could be in a new spot and we could adapt more quickly than those that only play on the same courts each and every time. And I think it also helps us be able to adapt to the rules. So back wall being dead or back wall being live or whatever the rules are going to be, like off the sidewall, we can adapt pretty quickly because we're used to it. Every single weekend, every other weekend that we play a tournament, we have to adapt to a different rule set. Do you think it's helped you as you just traveled to Palazzo and played a completely different court than you?
Well, yeah, I mean, it definitely helps. So, it's for me, obviously, and this is me kind of going with what you were saying. It's about the reps too. Like you get enough exposure doing playing in those facilities or the surfaces. The reps help. I feel like I can go to any facility now in the country and roll well. Okay, so I've had that experience, and it took me a little bit of time when I was at Palazzo to get it down because they're so long. You don't realize how long they are until you're down there rolling the ball.
It just messes with your eyes.
It's unreal, and it's for shooting too.
Didn't go to Wycliffe,
and then go to Wycliffe. Yeah,
I went from Palazzo to Wycliffe, and I just remember the ball feeling like it was like so right in front of me. Like this is the easiest ball to hit ever because it's like it's right over the line.
There's no doubt about it. I saw a lot of really, really good hitters become very, very mortal at Palazzo. Very mortal. And it was kind of crazy. So yeah, speaking of that, so we had there was another topic on our on the Facebook page in relation to, was it back wall dead or the backboards?
Different backboard rules. And I think that means live versus dead.
Okay, what was the question?
Just basically like, what is our feelings nationally, how there's different live versus dead rules. And I think those, especially that play dead only, that have the courts that are either synthetic or so freaking straight and they're long, they're used to playing backboard dead like all the time. That's all they play. And so they see us play live and they call it slot bocce.
I mean, okay, so a couple things. Number one, when you're playing back wall live, okay, and you're shooting the back wall, okay, you still have to hit a target area as if you were shooting a ball to make your point, right? I mean, to get a ball close. So there's a lot of skill still involved in shooting the back wall. Also, when the ball...
And strategy, right?
And strategy, absolutely.
Whether there's a hill or whether that board comes off or not.
Right. Learning the the side walls and how they come off if you're going to do two wall shots, like things like that. So there's still a lot of skill involved in that. On the flip side, synthetics is basically when you play back wall dead. Obviously, rolling to the back wall without touching the backboard is a huge skill, and a lot of people take advantage of that. I had a brief conversation with LaBarbera about it. His favorite thing is when he's playing and the Pauline is on the back wall, because he feels like him and his team have an advantage because they're really good at rolling deep to the wall without burning the ball. People that aren't used to it burn the ball. When you burn it, that ball's off the court.
Well, remember the game at Molsani that Russ, when he wore the shirt that says, something about he doesn't get the respect, right?
Yes.
So he wore the suit after he won. But, he was looking at Croach and he wanted to roll to the back wall on the last point, and brought up Jason, and Jason had missed the ball. This is Jason, Jose, Pat, maybe Hunt. No, was it LaBarbera on their team too? I mean, it's like a freaking loaded team, right? Loaded team. Yeah. They're playing at Molsani, but Russ had the experience of playing at Molsani, knew how to roll the back wall. that's his home court. And, he made that fantastic ball to be able to beat that, I don't know, 10-incher to then bring up that hit. It was a lot of fun to watch that, like, roll to the back wall. And players like LaBarbera, players like Hunter from Detroit, players like Stewie. I think Stewie has like an amazing back wall game where he can just very quickly dissect where he needs to put the ball, what speed to be able to beat something on the back wall. And man, that puts so much pressure on the other team. It could be such a backbreaker if they could be able to beat a foot point all the way on the back wall, especially on those deep courts.
I agree, but I also think that playing back wall dead does bring. So you're saying somebody makes comments about how back wall live is like garbage bocce. Okay, well, there's a strategy when you're playing on synthetics and back wall's dead where you're going to shoot a ball that's halfway down the court because you want to get the balls down there. And at that point, if you shoot the ball, it's all luck. Yep. It's, I'm going to shoot this ball and hope a bunch go down there and bang around and you make point. Okay. Well, where is the necessary skill in that? So I can argue too that
there's side of the ball, if you really want to try to do something.
Okay, but
there is skill. Yeah. There's skill to it, right? I also believe that. I mean, like there's luck in really most sports. And then what you could do is you could pull all the luck out of it, like, and keep on strapping out luck, and then you get PRV, and then you're gonna fall asleep watching bocce every week if you're gonna be watching PRV on TV. It's just not gonna work. There's a time and a place for it. I love that it's it's part of our national.
Yeah, people want to see the chaos, dude. The chaos is what sells tickets. I mean, I agree with you, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. You want to watch this Minnesota-Michigan game where the guy goes off sides and it was back haul. You want to watch this, like, the Virginia Tech game against Miami. You want to see, like,
what a crazy game, dude. What a crazy game.
But that's sports. And so, like, why people watch sports, what I believe will grow the game of bocce is you got to make it relatable to people. And so people relate to bad luck. People relate to getting lucky on something. People relate to the agony of defeat and the thrill of victory. And I feel like open bocce, whether it be backboard, dead, or live, I think it's a relatable game.
Right. I don't disagree with that. I mean, I can argue with both, but I like both. I'm cool with both. I think it's fun to play a different strategy. I do like it.
And not to interrupt you, but these dirt courts, you can't do it. So, like, Cosmo, I don't know if you saw the game earlier today, was Pro Quality, was playing against, they call themselves Lorenzino 777. So it was like Rock Delisio, Chris Chemilensky from Kentucky, Bubba and Pope was playing against both Caps, both father-son duos, which just was a chaotic event. I can't even imagine those four just being on the same team. It's just how how much tense it is to play with your dad and son, and then you make it Capagrecos and the Iron Murrays. So they were playing, and Cosmo had this shot off the back wall, and they utilized this hook, and it was actually awesome spot. Didn't come back in for point. They end up losing the game. But what I also saw on that too was a topic that I wanted to bring up to you. I want to get your specific perspective on this because
can't wait.
You play with Anthony Capagreco.
I do.
You play with Robert Stewart, aka Stewie. And so they're down 12-2, Pro Quality is game to 13. And Cap started talking a little shit to Pope. And so there was these comments that are all going on the live stream and says, like, why is he talking shit, being down 12-2? I personally said it was a great time to talk shit. So what do you feel about talking shit? When you're down, when you're up, you allowed to talk shit?
I mean, I don't know why they're shocked. I mean, that's what Anthony does. Whether he's up a million, down a million, it's what he does. He just runs his mouth. He talks shit. That's what he does. That's Anthony. And I think somebody, actually, I do remember this because someone had texted me and made a comment that, I kind of defended Anthony in this because I guess on the stream it said that they, he's too good to be talking shit. Well, I mean, yeah, he's really good. I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean,
yeah, and listen, and like, there's people that watch
by that at all.
Well, there's people that watch basketball. There's people that watch football. I mean, like, my parents, especially, or they're even like, even some of my cousins, like, they don't need to talk shit. They're so good. Why are you dancing after you, batted down a ball? right? And so for every one of those people that are like, you don't need to do it, I'm the person I love, like the Larry Birds of the world, that are telling you I'm taking one step, left hook, I'm going over the shoulder,
Right in your
backboard
eye, yeah.
swoosh,
Right in
deal
your
with
eye,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of like that, like when a Denzel Ward bats the ball down, that he's doing the air guitar and he's saying, "Let's go." I mean, that's the way I play
I mean, there's
sports.
only one Barry Sanders, okay? He's the only one in history. Actually don't think Derrick Henry ever celebrates either. But those are the only two athletes I've ever seen that like literally don't say anything. They just hand the ball to the ref and they walk away. That's classy, but like that's them. Everyone else does talk shit. They run their mouths. Like, yeah. I mean, golf, I guess, is our sport's compared to golf for so many reasons. I'm not really sure why. Golf is the one thing where like you don't really do it unless it's the Ryder Cup, which that's a team dynamic game. So they are gonna run their mouth. I was watching the President's Cup the last few days, and they're getting wild out there in Canada, like wild. Like it was unbelievable. Actually, these guys were talking shit to each other. I think it's people don't want to get shown up. Okay, so, but I think it's funny that they were down 12-2. Anthony's talking shit. If I was Popey, I'd have said, "Look at the scoreboard, asshole!" Like, what else is Anthony gonna say? Like, if Anthony wants to keep talking, let him talk. Like, they lost, right? I'm sure they lost the game.
Oh, they lost the game, but at that point they scored 4. It worked. Like they scored 4. If Kozlov's backball shot comes in, they might have won 13-12. Popio throws the trash can.
Yeah.
Like we have a whole different podcast today.
Well, for sure. And that's probably why he did it, to try to get under his skin. I mean, Popio is one of those players that like he gets affected by that. He could act like he don't, but he late in games, dude, he kind of struggles. This might be an unpopular opinion, but
I think Popio is a great player. But
I do
whatever.
Too.
Besides the point, I'm gonna bring this back to me because that's what I like to do. Is Anthony Capagreco, right? I talked about him last week. Think he's a great player, and we're playing against him in Vegas. And I go to Jimmy P. I'm playing with Jimmy P. and I'm playing with Cugini. And I go, Jimmy, this dude's gonna talk shit. I'm already ready for this, right? Just totally jacked up, ready for those games against Anthony. It's like second frame. I stick the ball. He goes over to me, whispers in my ear. He goes, "Nice shot." And I'm like, this asshole's being nice to me. He's fucking with my head. I don't want to hear this.
Yeah, he mind fucking. Yeah.
Yeah, that is talking shit to me. He's telling me nice shot. Right. Tell people nice shot. You're the meanest person ever.
Joking, yes, that probably got you all jacked up, but that's his way of that's his way of talking shit. He knew he flipped it on you.
Yeah, I was like, don't get in this thing, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, listen, all these dudes, we always bring ABV up, but like you don't really hear those guys talk very much. But don't think that they're not competitive and want to rip people's throats out like Anthony and the rest of us do. I'm like, they do. Like let's not get it twisted. I remember when they won that high stakes at St. Anthony's ABV, which is like 2 years ago, right? Was it like early last year? After they won one of these games. I think it was Dennis that looked at Rondog and was like, "Yeah, I heard you. You think we didn't hear that? You think you forgot about us? Like, don't forget about us. We're still here. Like, we still run this shit. Like those guys don't talk like that." But I remember that because I was there that day when it happened, and they showed out. They won the thing. But yeah, that was a moment. Like, dude, even those guys, when they're pushed to that limit and they hear it, like enough is enough. Like they're gonna say something. So I like it. I mean, I love it. I love the energy. I mean, it's freaking awesome, dude. Like, I don't like this, like, a nice ball after a shot or shake hands. Like, screw all that shit, man.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's however you want to play the game, to me, is important. And whatever's going to motivate you to get better, I'd prefer if somebody was talking smack to me. It locks me into the game. It's something that I like. I mean, going back to Capagreco, you try not to talk shit to him because he's going to hear it and he's going to be locked in, laser focused. He's going to do a stick, look back at you, or wait till you miss and tell you to pull the ball and do something back to you. I don't hear it as much, though. What do you think about New York, like Lockport, Rome, Long Island? I don't hear a lot of shit talking. Don't really in Chicago or California either.
No, I mean, I've played against, we're gonna have a few of those gentlemen from New York on our cast this week, but I don't really hear them talk very much at all. They just play bocce and that's it. but I also don't think they don't mind it either. I don't think like they understand it's competition. So yeah, I mean, listen, I got into it with Richie in Rome. I got into it with Richie at Rome, and we're cool. Like we we squashed that. It's all good. But for people that don't know, we were playing Rome, and we had played them 3 times in 3 games. We beat them the first time. They came back from the loser. We played them in the championship.
This is Richie
And
DeFranco. Wait, just to get a name.
Richie DeFranco. Yes, Richie DeFranco.
Sergio DeFranco, Nico Fox,
Doug
Carter.
and Doug Carter.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
Listen, Richie was mumbling stuff under his breath the whole time. And it was like more, I get it, like he was kind of like rooting against our ball, or he was saying whatever, and he was these little comments under his breath. And he was doing it the whole time. And I didn't care because, like, we run our mouths, we talk. We weren't really saying much that entire game, actually, at all. Richie was saying a lot of stuff under his breath that I heard, and I think Sergio heard a little bit. So then the one shot Richie had, he missed. We scored. Stewie said, pull it. And Richie immediately gets mad. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, dude. Like, you've been running your mouth the whole time. I've been hearing this. Right. I said, listen, don't act like you weren't. Like, I don't care. But then don't jump down my dude's throat when you've been doing it for 3 hours. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like he was like calling us names or being like derogatory or anything like that. But like I heard him. Like, it got me kind of geeked up to play more during those games because I heard him saying some of that stuff. And but it's all for him and his team. So like, I'm cool with it. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, damn, don't get mad when like Stewie finally said something. He hadn't said anything the whole tournament. He decides to say something. You freak out. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, calm down, dude. Like, if that's how we're going to do it, like, we're going to do it both ways, So, but it's cool. I liked it. Like, I got no problem with him. Like, it was fun, and they end up winning. So like, what can we say? If anybody can talk shit, it's going to be him. They won. That's we right. Didn't. So
I got one question to ask you, and then I'm going to throw in another surprise to you. And both this is a surprise too question. One thing that I want to mention is before that is we really do go off script. So you and I just like talk beforehand and say like these are the general topics that we want to go with.
Right.
But, like, we don't make lists ahead of time. We don't prepare answers. We try to be unfiltered.
Right.
And there's going to be some times where I say something I know and be like, shit, like I forgot about this player. I forgot about this name. Like I forgot Joe Peterson was playing with Billy Barnett last week.
Yeah.
That happened. We're doing this sort of off the cuff without really a lot of show notes. So I didn't tell you about this question. I was going to ask you. So one question that we'll move on to the other one is that ball in Rome that you said that DeFranco wasn't in. And then you waited for the measurement, and then you said that point didn't count because you were going to measure that one. What did you think it was really in?
Oh, they were in. They were in for sure, but that don't matter. That don't matter. If a team member, if a member of the team wants to measure, they are in their right to measure. People do that. Listen, there's a strategy to making people measure, even if you know that point is in. Slows the game down, maybe stops momentum, could be a mind fuck, whatever. They were 100% in, but Cap wanted to measure, and you grabbed the ball. You heard us say we want to measure. That's not our fault. It's not our fault. Like, yes, I'm 99% sure that ball was in, but listen, that's not my problem.
But it never got measured in.
No, listen, I got to be honest with you. I have done it twice this year where Cap wanted to measure a ball that he thought might be in, and I grabbed it, and therefore we only got one instead of 2 or 3. And I grabbed the ball. It is what it is. Like, it don't matter. Like, move on to the next frame. Like, so, whatever. But yeah, it was definitely.
You see me play against you. I'm really slow. I love measuring balls when the other team's getting hot. I love measuring balls, giving some time to my roller. It's like, oh, that's in by 3 inches, Danny. Cool. Let's find out. Oh, it's 2.5. Great.
Yeah.
It's still,
my opinion, we're always in until we're not. Unless it's egregious. If I think it's close, I'm always going to say us. It's the other team's job to come down and measure the point.
So along with these guests that we're going to have, what I'm also going to ask you, Matt, to do, because I think the people are asking for it. They want it. They want a top 10 list. They want to know the best players in PA, Ohio, New York, wherever you can get 10. They want to know the 10 best shooters. They want to know the 10 best playmakers, 10 best rollers. I want some top 10 lists, and I'm going to be a man of the people. I'm going to be the defense attorney, and I'm going to tell you whether I agree those people should be on there or not.
Okay.
And if I disagree, I got to come with some ammo. I better have some players that I want to replace them with, because I can't
you better
just
come strapped. Yeah, you better come strapped, because it's gonna be tough. It's tough sledding.
I'm ready for it, and I'm ready for those games when those other players want to kick my ass because I said they're not a top 10 player. I'm gonna be ready for that one too.
Right.
So we're gonna be signing off here. Second episode, Respect the Line. Can't wait to have these guests on. This is Matt Taylor and your host Danny Catullo as well, saying sayonara. Go play some bocce.
See you later.